guys, it's Justina from Magpie and Mockingbird, and today we are going to do a tutorial. We are going to turn a card making kit into a journal. Now, if you don't have a card making kit, grab anything you have. Grab your $1.99 kit from Ollie's. Grab some double-sided paper. I will show you, like, we can make anything work for this, all right? I know it's a complete bummer that American Crafts and OfficeSupply.com don't sell the stuff currently. So if you don't have it, we can find alternatives. Or you can go to scrapbook.com, although I have to tell you, it's like more than double what I paid on the other sites. Okay, so let me do a quick flip through so you can see what we're going to be making today. All right, so my plan is to do something similar, although my plan is always to do something similar and then I make something different. So it should have this structure overall. It's going to be like, I don't know if it's a journal or a mini album, because really it could be either. All right, it has a chipboard frame, but you could use 110-pound cardstock if you want to. It has these chipboard embellishments on this. However, in my Reasons to Smile kit, I don't have chipboard, so mine's not going to have chipboard this time. I did find thickers to give it some lift, but like I said, it's going to be a little bit different. All right, then when you open it up, it's got pockets. It has 4 sections here, okay? And the way these were created is that they also have pockets in the middle and then a pocket at the end. All right, so we're going to go through how to put this together. And like I said, if you don't have what I have, I will offer suggestions for alternatives. Okay, so this was based on the sketchbook kit, and we are going to switch gears now, and we are going to do Reasons to Smile, okay? So I'm going to go through and just show you what's in here first, so if you're not interested, just fast forward to when we start creating. All right. So this kit, all right, we have all the fun ephemera, which I will set to the side because unfortunately we won't get to that till the end. Okay, we have different cards. So let's see the patterns. Oh, okay. Usually it's 2 different ones. Noted. Oh, this is, okay, so this is going to be a different kind of kit. The cards I was working with before had something completely different on the front than the back. This is the same front and back. Well, not really. This one is the exception, and this one. All right, so we'll have to keep that in mind. It might limit the variety a bit. No big deal. Okay, we have some washi tape. Although I am going to cheat you guys because I do have the washi tape that comes with this. You do not have to have washi tape at all. All right, it comes with some stickers. And if you're doing a kit like this, just get the basic color scheme and get yourself some stickers from the Dollar Tree. All right, the stickers are really cute. Envelopes are flimsy, so keep that in mind. Let's say you don't have cards at all, you just have double-sided paper. Honestly, I think it will make a sturdier journal to use double-sided paper. These aren't as flimsy as some, but they're not thick. Okay, and then foam dot stickers. You can get these from Dollar Tree, you guys. Okay, so now that we see what we are working with. Oh, did I show you I have this paper pack? I think I showed you this, but again, this will be the end. All right, so this is the basic construction. We need to make this frame, which is wrapped chipboard. We need to make hinges, and then on the hinges, that's when these envelopes come into play. All right, so let's start by wrapping some chipboard. So I have some chipboard here. Now I get mine from work, so I'm not I'm not sure where to get some. I guess, well, you can get some at Amazon or Michael's. I don't know recommended name brands though. Like this, it's not super thick. And I'm hard pressed to believe that wrapping 110-pound cardstock would be much different. And my pencil. All right, so we said this is roughly, if we do 4.75, then we could do like tabs and stuff and not have to worry. So let's do 4.75. And then we said this was 5 3/4 by 6. All right, so our journal is going to be 4.75 by 6, which means we need to cut 2 pieces of chipboard this size. All right, so I can get that out of this one piece. So what I do for this, I do not use my regular cutter. I use this cutter. It's got a dull blade in it. Cuts chipboard just fine though, and it won't dull my nice one. All right, so we're going to cut this at 4.75. And again, because we need to. I forgot a spine. All right, my other spine was like 2 inches and it worked out well, so let's do 2 inches. All right. Now, so we have 4.75, 4.75, 2 inches. And we're going to cut these down now so that they are 6 inches. Hang on to your chipboard scraps. They will be useful at some point. You can turn them into tags. You can make smaller albums. Something will be needed for it. Okay, so here we go. Front cover, spine, back cover. And now we need to wrap it, which is challenging. So it's challenging just because it's big. So this is a 12 by 12 paper. I have scored it 1 inch here and 1 inch here. What that does is it gives me a line when I'm gluing. Okay, so if I go to put this down, I can line it up here and line it up here. The problem is, even if I don't give any room in that spine, not big enough. So what I did last time was I cut off part of the top and I glued it down here. So you want to give yourself about 1 inch to wrap. So I'm going to cut there. All right. And then I am going to glue this down to make this longer. All right. So here we go. My paper is ready, and you'll know it's ready because when you line it up, you can give yourself about 1 inch on every side. Just move this. You can give yourself 1 inch on every side for wrapping. You can have a little bit of space. You do not want this spine to touch this cover, or when you go to move it, it's going to crack against itself. Okay? And then like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is glue it down first, then I'm going to trim off the excess and then wrap it. Okay, all right, so did I say this? I'm sorry guys, I'm scattered today. So this is scored 1 inch this way, this is scored 1 inch that way, and that gives you a line to line up your pieces on. I recommend it. I feel like it makes life easier. So there we go. Clean off my knife. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it here so it still has 1 inch, and I'm going to trim it here so it has 1 inch, and then we are going to wrap and miter and glue it down. Probably should do this first. Okay, and this, if it's not precise, if it's crooked, doesn't matter. You're just folding it and gluing it. I would have left more room there if I had stopped to think for 10 more seconds. Okay, so now we have the chipboard wrapped. Okay, and we already have our score lines here and here. So now we need to fold it here. I'm probably gonna hit the camera, I apologize. All right, and yes, we have this big ugly line right here, but that's okay because we're going to cover it with paper. Okay, and then I just need to fold it on itself. So what I'm doing is I'm picking this up and I'm folding it down on itself to make this crease line. Get right in there with your scoring knife and go over it. The better crease this is, the easier the next couple steps will be. All right. Okay, so I've gone through and I've creased all of this. And then what we're going to do now is miter. Okay, so do you see how these come together and they intersect here at this point? This is extra that we need to get rid of. However, we don't want to cut right to that point, because if we do, when you go to fold and glue, this piece of cardboard is going to stick out and it's going to really look bad against this pink. So what I do, and there is a tool for this, it's the same kit that came with this that you can pop on the corner. I'm going to freehand it, but I'll put the kit in my description in case you're interested. Okay, so I'm going to cut almost to the corner and then pull away. Hopefully that was in focus. All right, again, I'm going to cut almost to the corner and then pull away. All right, this is called mitering. So, you know, when we're wrapping a gift, this is like the part of the gift that you just tuck in and it's no big deal because it's thin wrapping paper. When it's cardstock, it is a big deal. It's going to get bulky and awkward and you don't want it. All right, so now I am going to, actually, first I'm going to take my scoring knife and I'm just going to put it in here. Just so when it comes time to fold it, I already have like my lines defined kind of thing. All right, so I always start at the ends. I'm going to glue my ends down, then I'll glue my sides down, then I'm going to score this and fold it again. All right, so I'm going to be very honest. I hate this part. I'm going to use a piece of paper to cover this cardboard, but it doesn't work out for me, guys, and I don't know why. So whenever I do this, I glue it down, And then I go to like push this up and something bubbles every time, no matter what. So I do not claim to be the expert on this. If you know a better way, do it. And also share it with me, please, because I don't know what I do wrong. All right, so I'm just going to mark how big I need this. And I'm going to cut it. So, I mean, I'm not going edge to edge, you guys. That would be really hard. I'm definitely leaving space. All right, I'm going to use my paper trimmer. To get that piece. And then save the other piece. This is a 12 by 12, by the way. Save the other piece, we need it to make the hinges. Okay. So I have my piece. And I'm just going to glue it down. All right, and now these next steps I'm going to show you. This is what I do, but like I said, it goes wrong every time. So maybe this is not what to do. But I just go through and I score this part again. And I score this part again. And then I fold it. Oh, okay. Well, way to make a liar out of me, paper. It worked. All right. So now we have to make the hinge. Okay. So when we left off, I was going to show you how to make the hinges. And I did. I went through and I made them. And I made them the wrong size. And I'm out of this pink paper. So we are now switching. Same exact size journal, but now it's purple, and I will show you the correct way to make the hinges. So let me show you why this is wrong in case you get caught up in this. So even though this is lined up very well with the top and the bottom of the journal, it's meant to hold the envelope, and the envelope is not a full 6 inches. It's 5.75. So we could have done this, but we're going to have this overhang that doesn't look very good. So instead, I'm keeping this. I can still use this and I can use other paper in it. But we need a hinge that will fit in this 2x6 area, but not be greater than this envelope. Okay. So right now, you can see it's the exact same size, and that is what we're going for. You could even, if you wanted to, make this a little bit smaller so that you don't have any issues with like overhang. All right, so this piece of paper is 5 3/4 by 7 1/2, and let me show you how to score it. Now, as far as a scoreboard goes, I don't really know a great alternative. I mean, you could go through and you could mark off at 1 inch and then every 1/2 inch. I think that would be a lot of work. So using my scoreboard, I am going to score at 1 inch, and I'm going to do it 3 times because I like a nice deep score line. And then I'm going to flip it over. And again, I'm going to score at 1 inch. Okay, so now I have 1 inch on each side, and now I'm going to fill it in by scoring at every 1/2 inch. So I have a score at 1 inch, I have a score at 6 1/2. I'm going to 1, and I'm going to score at 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. Oh dear, I missed. It's fine. It's fine. And 6. Okay, so we have 1 inch on either side and a 1/2 inch the whole way through. So now, just make sure I'm still in the frame. Okay, so now I'm going to go through and carefully fold on each score line and score it. Okay, you want to be careful with this part, otherwise your lines are going to start to go diagonal and it won't hold your pages straight. And you can see I'm accordion folding it for now, although I will have to fix the direction some of these are going. And you can see like it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I find I tend to be a perfectionist with this stuff, and I only see what goes wrong, and it's things that other people don't even notice. So be kind to yourself. Okay, this is the one I messed up, so I just have to make sure that I'm on the actual score line. There we go. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a peak, and then we are going to leave one alone, leave it flat, and then make the next 2 a peak. Okay. And when you get done, you will have 4 peaks. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have these longer pieces here. We're going to use these to attach this to the journal. And I am now going to use my score tape to make these stick together. Okay, you do not have to have score tape. You do not. However, I prefer it just with this. It's rare I prefer score tape to actual tape, but in this case it doesn't make a mess. It's dry immediately and you can go on to your next step. The thing though about score tape is you have one chance. The moment it goes down, that's it. So if that makes you worried, you could always do a squiggle of glue on it, and then that will buy you like an extra second or so if you have to like pull it off, align something, that kind of thing. Okay, so put that down. And now I have my first peak. I'm going to leave this one alone. Okay, so I skip this next one and I put tape here. I forgot to leave that space between one time, and I was still able to make a journal, but the pages are very tight. And with this, you want to have lots of room to be able to decorate and embellish without feeling like the book is going to explode. Okay, so now I'm going to fold that down. Smooth it with my scoring knife. Okay, so I have one, I have a space, and I have two. And I am going to keep going until I finish. All right. Here we go. So now we have our 4 tabs, we have our 1-inch overhang, and we are ready to attach it to the journal. Now I don't want to line it up right at the bottom because look at this gap right here. Okay, so I'm going to need to make sure that these 4 hinges are inside the spine, but also that this paper is lined up so there's a little bit of space here and a little bit of space here. All right, so I am going to use my glue for this part. Okay. And now you really want to get in there and flatten it, especially these inner parts.
Oh, there's Minecraft. Okay,
All right, so now that's glued down, and we're going to use our scoring knife, and we're just going to trace back over this hinge part so that when we go to fold it, ooh, cannot make a straight line, you guys. So when we go to fold it, it's no problem. Oh, sorry, my cat has decided to tip my beads over. Okay, and then score it. Margaret Catherine.
what?
Score it here. All right, and now, despite the cat and my child, we have the base is done. We have our 4 hinges glued in, and we are ready to start adding pages. Okay, so I am going to show you how to do this with envelopes, but that being said, you do not have to have envelopes. A sheet of paper is fine, and in fact, it might even be easier. So let's say you had a piece of paper, you could just measure it to be 5 3/4 and glue it down like that. And then if it was double-sided, you could even fold down the top of it and it would look just fine. So just so you know, if you don't have envelopes, it is more than okay. You could still fill this with just regular paper. Okay, but that being said, I am going to use the envelopes in the kit. And like I said, they are 5 3/4, so they're going to fit right on here. You will need 8 if you're going to do them the way I'm doing them. And let me just walk you through what that will look like. Okay, so with the envelope, the only thing we're doing is cutting off the flap. And then I'm using an X-Acto knife for this next part because that's what's easiest for me. You could just use your scissors for the next part. Okay, now this has not been working great, I have to be honest. Let me see. Oh, it's jammed with paper. That could definitely do it. Okay, so you basically want a really light touch on this, okay? Or else it's going to rip the entire envelope. And so what I'm going to do is just gently pull it across. Okay, so I've taken off the flap and now I'm left with this pocket, okay? Then this is just a piece of cardstock so I don't accidentally cut through too many layers. I'm going to stick this in here. I'm going to get my ruler, and I just want it to be a straight line from, I'm using this center part as my line, okay? I have my X-Acto knife, which I am not talented at. So if there's something you can use that would be better, do it, okay? And I'm just going to cut this tab off because I don't like how it looks. Okay? So that's all I cut. So if that's easier for you with scissors, then absolutely do it with scissors. And then I'm going to come down here, line it up. And cut it. Okay? And now for me, this next part is easiest with a pair of scissors. And so I'm going to use my scissors and just cut this flap off. All right. And so now we have what we need. All right. So now I am going to need to make 8 of these. However, if you want to, I'm just looking for scrap paper to show you. I mean, if you want to, get a piece of paper and fold it in half like that. Okay, this is going to serve the same purpose as this. So if it's easier and you don't have envelopes, or you don't have an X-Acto knife, or just get a piece of paper, make it 5 3/4 so that it goes on your tabs with your hinges here with no problem. And just fold this down and then put glue here and here so that you have a pocket. That's it. All right. I am going to make 7 more of these and I'll be back. Okay, so I have gone through and prepped 8 envelopes. So I did that by cutting off the flap and then cutting off the pieces to the side. So basically this is just a thin paper with a pocket. This is how I personally put it together. You really have so many options with this, but let me show you what I did. So what I did was I kept the pocket on the top. I put glue here and I glued this down. All right, so this would be attached. And then I kept the pocket on top and I glued it down here. And then I only glued up the sides. And that way you still have a pocket in here. And I did that with all 4 of these, so they all followed the same thing. A pocket here, and a pocket in here. However, I mean, the possibilities are truly endless. You could put the pockets at the bottom and leave this open. You could glue it here and here and have pockets open at the top. This is all personal preference. So however you envision yours. Let me just pull mine back so I can show you. Okay, so again, mine followed the same structure where the pocket was here, and then you could pull the card out here. There was the center pocket for something to pull out there, and then another pocket here. Okay, but there truly is no wrong way to do this. I would just give you a couple things, caution on a couple things. If you're going to do this ribbon trim, you want to put that in before you decorate this cover side. I always forget to do that, so just keep it on your radar. I mean, this doesn't need a ribbon trim, okay? This just sits very nicely, but if you wanted to add, a nice decorative element, keep this in mind with your planning that the ribbon needs to go down first before your other papers. And I think that really is it. Like, the decorating part is so fun. My little lemon tree is trying to leave me. And I would suggest using these foam pieces to give it some extra dimension. Like, these chipboard pieces naturally did that, but then like adding foam to these little pieces really helped. These little pull tabs give an extra element to it. And everything in here, I use the cards. So, ooh, my poor little lemon tree. What am I doing to you? Let's put you like this. Maybe you won't get caught. Okay, so all I did was I took a card, and you can see it's different, okay? And I cut it, so I had two pieces. And I cut off a piece and made it the inside. And I cut off the other piece and I made it the outside. And then I did an envelope punch in here. So, you know what, let's do one of these together so you know what I'm talking about. And then it's time to get creative and to decide if you're going to mimic my pockets or if you're going to do something else that you've thought of. Okay, so I'm going to take this envelope. Now with that one, I did glue them all in first, but really it could be either way. It doesn't have to be that way. Okay, so I'm going to use my trimmer and I'm going to just cut right by the spine. Okay, so I have my first piece and my second piece, and then I have just this itty bitty waist piece. Not too bad. Okay, and then I probably should keep this by me actually. All right, so what I did was I put the card like this. So I want this to come down to the bottom, and if you want, you could glue this entire thing down. You absolutely could. But my thought was, like, no one's going to see it beyond this part, so why would I waste that? So what I did was I marked it so that it would go into the envelope a little bit, but not too much. Okay, so I'm going to cut that. All right, and then I have this, and you can make a tag out of this. You could layer it up and make a card with a couple pieces. Lots of possibilities. Okay, so now I have my piece, and the other thing was I got my corner rounder, and you could just use scissors. I do not have that talent. And I just rounded the end of it. Now this is going to be white on white, so it's probably not ideal, but you can see, like, I left, there's a little bit of a white border. I don't actually know if you can see that. I hope you can. Okay, a little bit of a white border here. And I'm just going to glue this down. Okay, make sure that's pressed down. Okay, and then now for this pocket part, what I do is I don't go right up to the line. I try to give myself about 1/2 inch. And the reason I do that is when I do the envelope punch, I don't want to see this white underneath it. So I'm going to be pretty generous with the size of this pocket. And I mean, that's probably 3/4 of an inch, if not a full inch, honestly. Okay, so I have my piece here, which should be 5 and, okay, this is 5 1/2 exactly. So now I'm going to use my envelope punch and do it at 2 3/4 because that's halfway. Okay, and I like to round these corners as well. And then I'm going to glue it down like that. So it's going to overhang the pocket a bit. So I mean, you could get closer if you wanted to. I don't. I'm just going to leave it like that. And now I'm going to have it glued, and it's going to be this pocket to put some ephemera in. And I leave the back totally blank because the way I glue it in is there's going to be another card, so I don't want to waste anything on that. This is also nice because, like I said, those envelopes are flimsy, and this reinforces it. So for this, what I do is I put the glue directly on the envelope. And you shouldn't go corner to corner because this won't reach corner to corner. The envelope is bigger than the card. And I say that, and I kid you not, every single time yesterday when I was doing this, I went right to the corner. Without fail. All right, sorry guys, it's hard to do this on camera and line it up and not hit it with my head. The camera with my head, I mean. Okay, there we go. All right, and so I have my first page done. I have a pocket in there. And this is very plain, but that's okay because I now can decorate this however I want it to look. And I could put just blank spots for someone to journal and write. I can give it some 3D embellishments because you will have lots of space in this journal. That is really nice. So I'm going to do this again with the same card because with this pack, there ends up only being there are 5 styles of cards, but I don't want to use the wood. I love the wood, but not for this. Okay, so I am going to make this first flap entirely this. So I'm going to do the same process one more time. I'll show you how I attach it to the hinge, and that should do it. That should have you on your way to making a cute little journal. Okay, so now I can show you this next part. So you have your 2 pages and your book, and we are going to glue it in. So the first thing I'm going to do is put glue all over this hinge, and then I'm going to line this up and glue it down like that. Okay, so this is attached. So now I want to put glue all over here, but then also up here and up here to make, oops, to make this next pocket. Okay, and there you go. So the first one is done. And I mean, you could put like little note cards that spill over on the other side. You can do a single sheet. You could do washi tape if you don't like how this looks, and like start the washi here and have it flow into here. You now have this center pocket to put things in, and you are ready to go through and create all the pages and decorate and embellish. So if you Okay, so I have gone through and I have put each of my pages in, and now it's the fun part of embellishing. But before I lose track, I am going to add a ribbon closure, and I wanted to do that on camera so I could show you how to do it. So this is 2 feet. It is more than enough. However, I like to keep it long just in case. So what I'm going to do is I am going to glue a little bit of it down here. Then once I glue it, I'm going to tape it just as an extra precaution. And then of course I'm going to layer decorative paper on top of it. But you want to be sure that this is as secure as you can make it. Oh, also, if you want it to be dead center, you should measure. I just eyeball it. Okay. So I am gluing this down. And then I'm also going to tape it just as an extra precaution. And if you have like some really sticky masking tape, that would be good. All right, so again, this is going to be covered, but I just like to know it's secure. Okay, and then what I do is I bring it down like this so that I can line it up. And then I'm going to add some more glue. And I'm going to glue this end down. Hold it in place for a second. All right, and then I'm going to tape this down as well. All right, and then as my last step, I am going to pull this ribbon out, and then I'm going to cut it right in the center. And now I have my binding. All right, so this is just an idea for a closure. You could also do a lobster claw. I love that. Lobster claw here to here to hold it in place. Or like I said, like this is a pretty level, sturdy book. And once you fill it with ephemera, you might not want a closure piece at all. So now you can decorate, and you can go through what I did with my other book, because there were more designs, is I just used these pieces to decorate. But you do not need to do that. You could use whatever you have in your stash to go through. And I'll make another video to show you how this turned out. And if you end up making this, I would love to see what you made and how you designed yours. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.